All right, guys, with an impressive win over Jeff Neal and now the division up in the air, this next guest joins us to give clarity on what's next, the NMF himself. It is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Welcome back to the show. How are you, man? Late at night, fresh after training and an MRI. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you, man. Anytime, bro. You know I love chatting with you guys. But yeah, man, everything's great. Like you said, just got done with a good win over Jeff Neal. Injured my right hand, so I just got an MRI. Literally just walked out of the hospital, so I'm in my car, and it's like 9:30. So I apologize if y'all can't see me too well right now. It's all my fault.
Nah, man, no, this is cool. It's kind of got a ghost stories vibe about it. Just quickly, with that hand, so you got the MRI done before. Is it a situation where it's still bothering you? Is it a situation where you're still noticing it? Take us into it.
Yeah, so leading up to the fight, it was actually really good. I injured it a year ago versus Vicente Luque. Ended up breaking both my left and my right hand. And it's my right hand, my index finger, the knuckle, giving me a problem now. It was great leading up to the fight. After the fight, I'm not sure if I just traumatized it or injured it anymore. But about a week afterwards, I still have trouble making a fist. A lot of swelling in the joint, so just kind of painful at the moment. My dad just says I'm just being a pansy, but that's pops for you. But yeah, man, just want to make sure that everything's okay. Doctor thinks it's a torn ligament, but we'll see.
So I guess whether you get surgery or not is still up in the air. Is this something that could potentially sideline you for a while? I mean, especially if you're unable to make a fist at the moment.
I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm praying that it's just something minor, maybe a little bit of physical therapy, and then I'm good to go. The timeline is April or May. I want to really step back out there in April or May. So I mean, I'm still working out at home, still at the gym, still training, helping guys get ready for their fights, still sparring, but just keeping it light with my right hand, not just using it as my jab hand for now. So if I hit a little bit too hard or accidentally hit an elbow, it's one of those where I start breaking into some serious sweat because of the pain. But at this point, I'm hoping that it's quick recovery.
I don't think breaking boards with sweet tea on the YouTube channel helps the hand. Does it, Steven?
Dude, did you see that? Oh, my elbow
Oh,
still hurts. Elbow still hurts from that thing, dude. Those were like the easiest boards to break. But when you stack about 15, 20 of them up and no spaces in between, that it becomes just a straight up brick. You know what I'm saying? So I could not get through those things. It was funny.
Yeah, that was crazy. Hey, just quickly before we get off yourself and your physical health and everything, it looks like you've got something on your forehead, maybe a scar or a cut. What's going on there, man? I think yeah, on that side, yeah. What's going on
Yeah,
there?
this was from the headbutt. I got my little Harry Potter scar now.
Yeah.
I actually have one. I've got a Harry Potter scar, which is pretty cool because after the last fight, I ended up headbutting Jeff Neal in the first round. I didn't know I was cut. I just thought it was him, but found out real quick when I got back to my corner. They were shoveling some Vaseline in there. Uh, but the doctor was like, "Hey, man, if this doesn't heal up too well, if it's an ugly scar, we can get somebody to get in there and fix it for you. I guess plastic surgery. I don't know, but I'm liking it. It makes me look a little tougher. Gave me a little Harry Potter scar. The kids love it. Hey, man, Mr. Steven, you're Harry Potter. Ah, so I'm kind of liking it at this point.
that's right. And the mums as well, because chicks dig scars, right, Steven? So that doesn't hurt either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I've been telling people. Chicks love this stuff.
Let's talk about the division though, because we saw that Hamzat Chimaev was out of his fight with Leon Edwards once again. Just quickly, man, your reaction when you saw that this fight was just basically never going to happen.
I know, man. I really wanted to step back out there. I was hoping that the card was going to be canceled and they would try and push it to a later time. And I wanted to be first on Twitter to say, hey, man, I've been trying to get this fight. Let's make it happen or in April. I was hoping April or May. But, he wanted to fight on March, in March. So I wasn't able to make that happen. So, I think was it was it Bahal?
Belal
He
Yeah,
Muhammad.
but
jumped in.
well,
Yeah,
Muhammad,
yeah,
yeah.
Bahal Muhammad. Sorry, he jumped in, which excellent for him, man. I mean, he's shooting a shot. He's stepping out there to face up one of the best guys in the division. So, hats off to him. I wanted to be me, but at this point, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, because the only person in the top 5 that hadn't fought for the title is yours truly. Well, obviously the title holder, Kamaru Usman. I fought for the title twice, but not Kamaru Usman. So I'm pushing for that, man. There's a lot of people on social media. The fans are kind of behind it as well, want to see me fight Usman. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed at this point.
So just to clarify, is that the fight that you're pushing for next, or you're saying that's kind of the end goal where you take a fight and then that leads you to, the title shot next?
I'm hoping that this will be pretty soon. I'm hoping that, because I mean, I know they were talking about Jorge Masvidal, but Jorge Masvidal's last fight was Usman. And, Usman said he wanted that fight. He's the one that called him out. But then he retracted and said, I'm not going to be, that generous. And so he's like, anybody could get it. So at this point, I've been trying to be, loud and proud on social media. I'm trying to do some, things like this, interviews with guys such as yourself to try and push this, man, to make this happen. And as of right now, the UFC is behind anything the fans are behind. So the fans are kind of wanting it, and I'm wanting it, obviously. I would love to fight Usman. Usman's a champ, bro. I love him as a champion, to be honest with you. He's a great fighter, great competitor. But, I think I can go out there. I can win this thing, man. I told everybody in 2021 the belt's going to be mine. So that's what I'm pushing for.
I love it when you're loud and proud on social media. You're still so respectful and awesome to everybody out there, but it's like you're trying to push it a little bit. But just going back to Leon Edwards, a lot of people are saying if he beats Belal Muhammad, how can you deny this guy a title shot? But what's your opinion on what should be next for Leon Edwards if he beats Belal Muhammad? There's two trains of thoughts. One, this guy's gone undefeated for a really long time. But then also Belal Muhammad, as tough as he is, not one of the top guys in the division, not in the top 5. How would you sort of break it down?
Well, I mean, if Leon Edwards would have taken that fight earlier last year, I would have said, obviously yes. I mean, if he just hasn't been active in almost 2 years. The guy hasn't fought, hadn't fought in almost 2 years, and it's almost like he's turning everybody down. I've called him out numerous times. There's some other guys that have been calling him out, and he's just not taking the fight. So until the only reason he was supposed to fight Hamzat was because the UFC had kicked him out of the division, out of the top 5, and I guess kind of made him fight him. Say, hey, we'll get you back in the top if you fight this guy. And he's like, all right. I'm kind of speculating that's how it went down. But I don't know, man. At this point, I mean, I hadn't fought in 2 years. Nobody in the top 5 wants to fight him because he hasn't been active. I mean, you hear Colby Covington, talk about it as well, which makes sense. And then you got Belal Muhammad, who is in the top 15, I think, maybe. But I don't see it. If he goes out there and beats this guy, yeah, okay, sure, But I don't know if he deserves a title shot at this point. I think he needs to fight somebody in the top, right? Myself or Jorge Masvidal or Colby Covington to get that shot. And that's just me. If that was a year ago, I would say, yeah, heck yeah, he deserves it. But now he's been sitting out for so long, it's like, nah, man, you gotta have 1 or 2 more fights before.
And then let's not forget, if Belal Muhammad goes in there and gets the win, now you got a brand new guy in the top 5 of the UFC division. That makes things exciting for yourself as well. But you touched on it. Colby was on our show and he spoke about Leon and not particularly being interested, saying how he doesn't want to do charity work for Leon. I wanted to sort of get a little bit deeper into that and your thoughts on that. I think a lot of people expected Leon and Colby to happen. From a fan's perspective, a very fun, exciting fight. 2 top guys. I guess some people can see Colby's reason for not wanting to do that as well. But do you also get a sense that there's a bit of a logjam at the top of the welterweight division where a lot of guys are kind of not wanting to fight other guys at the moment? Jorge is campaigning purely for Usman. Colby, not really interested in Leon. There's a lot of that going at the moment, and the division just feels stuck at the moment.
Yeah, and I thought that after this last fight with Burns, it would kind of loosen up a little bit. But I guess now everybody's seeing themselves fighting for the title. I mean, my last several fights have been guys significantly ranked behind me. I mean, Vicente Luque, Neal, and even before that. at some point in time, these guys are going to have to face somebody behind them. I mean, it is. I was expecting after this fight with Burns, guys would start taking more fights and things going to happen. But I don't think Colby Covington, I think he's had one fight after he got pieced up by Usman. And even in that fight, I thought he was schooled. I thought he got schooled by Usman. And Usman,
you didn't find it close? I know people were like, "Oh, it's 2-2 going to the fifth."
I didn't think it was close at all. I thought Usman was piecing him up with striking wise. Yeah, he was throwing a lot of volume, but not a whole lot was landing Colby Covington. Usman was landing every shot, and he was such a clean fighter. And you saw it too in his last fight with Burns. Like, his striking is getting better every freaking time you see him. And that's a scary dude. A guy that evolves like that and gets better every time you see him. And you expect that out of somebody like the champ. Now, will he fight that way with somebody like me? I don't think so. I think he goes back to his wrestling. I don't see him wanting to stand and bang with me. The last two guys that he's fought, or Colby Covington and Usman, Colby Covington and Burns were wrestlers. So I figured he was going to keep the fight standing. But with guys like myself and Jorge Masvidal, he's looking to get us to the cage and get us to the ground. But, again, somebody like me who's got the third best takedown defense in the division, he's going to have a hard time for sure.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of people noticing the improvement that Usman has made in his striking at UFC 258. Well, how would you sort of describe the level that he's at now compared to where he was a few fights ago?
Well, just his calmness out there. He's always been a calm fighter, but the way I saw him take that punishment in the first round, now he may say he may not take a lot of damage, but he took some shots. He took a shot that both hands actually hit the floor, and he stood back up. He took some damage. He kept cool. He weathered the storm, and that right there in its own just shows how mature he is as a fighter, and that's why he's champion. A lot of guys get in that situation. They panic. They start swinging for the fences, and then they get hit and knocked out and put to sleep. He kept his calm, stayed covered, stayed on his toes, stayed moving, kept his shots clean, didn't move out of position, and he weathered that storm in the first round. And you saw him just come back in the second and third round and just dominate him with a jab. At one point, Burns looked to trying to get him to the floor, but Usman stopped that real quick. Son, I'm forcing you to stand up and bang it out. And it makes sense. I mean, he had the longer reach, and it's almost like Burns doesn't know how to throw a straight punch. Everything he threw was just looping strikes. And for somebody with a shorter reach like that, you have to rely on your straighter punches to get to the target. When you start looping your punches, it makes them even shorter. So Usman just stuck him with the jab, man, and beat him with the jab, which was awesome. At that level, when you beat somebody with a jab, it's like, daggone, boy. Like, this dude's making some improvement. So that's another thing that I got to watch out for. And that's why I'm pushing for this fight so much, because I really want to test myself against guys like that who's, I just want to fight the best guys. And he is the best at the moment. And people are talking about him being, up there with George St. Pierre. And I'm like, hold on, put the brakes on for a second. Like, you've defended it 3 times. And George St. Pierre, I think it was like 9 or 10 or 12 or something like that. He's defended the title. I'm not really sure, but it was up there. And you're not quite there yet. Yeah, he's on the way, but he's not quite there. That's just in my eyes.
I know you sort of put it out on social media that you're ready to go and that's the fight that you want. But if he does see this interview, what is your message to Kamaru Usman if he sees this?
Just let him know that I'm right behind him. I'm to watch out for me. And he even said it himself. That one of the hardest guys in the division to prepare for is me. I'm going to give him the hardest fight. But I'm getting better every day too. Not just with my striking, but with my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu. And wherever the fight goes, I'm going to be ready for it. And if we fight each other, I'm going to be the one with my hands raised. So let's go, baby.
I love it. I love this fired-up version of you, Stephen. You know what else I love? Walking around town with a smooth-shaved sack. Thanks to our good friends at Manscaped with Lawnmower 3.0, the best grooming tool in the galaxy with the 7,000 RPM motor. It's skin-safe technology, so you don't cut yourself. LED light. It is waterproof, so you can shave yourself in the shower or, I don't know, in the Amazonian jungle if that's where you find yourself. And up to 90 minutes of battery power. You can get all sorts of other products as well well, such as the crop preserver, the foot duster, so you can have all sorts of good ball colognes, be smelling good down there, be smooth, and get those balls licked, man. Everybody likes it. And with our good friends at Manscaped, you get the 20% off promo code, which saves you a bunch of cheddar. So check out manscaped.com for all the best deals. Use that promo code submission. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. And we're presented by Manscaped. They're an incredible company who supports a lot of personalities in the MMA world and the sporting world. So we always appreciate it. Make sure to check out their products. And also, while your balls are nice and soft and clean, why not make some cash? MyBookie is the only place you could go to that give you the best odds and the best abilities to make money on the big fights and the big sporting games. And if you sign up with promo code submission, MyBookie will match your deposit halfway up to $1,000. How crazy is that, Cass? Halfway up to $1,000. There's some serious cash to be made. Some big fights happening this weekend. And, of course, UFC 259. How could you not go on there and make some cash through that? So go to MyBookie right now. That's MyBookie, MyBookie, and make some cash this weekend.
That's right. Cheddar makes it better. But I was going to say, Stephen, while we're talking about big fights, you know, if the UFC does decide to go down the route of Usman and Masvidal rematch, which is obviously going to make the company a lot of money, how do you see that rematch going? I guess one of the discussion points is, can Masvidal have a different performance with more preparation time? What do you think? Do you think it makes a difference?
I think so. I think it does make a difference. I mean, you saw in the last fight, it wasn't until the later rounds when he started getting taken down. Jorge Masvidal has great takedown defense, and he showed it. I think he stuffed 12 of the shots that of Usman shot. But when he started getting later in the rounds, his cardio started to fade, and that's when Kamaru Usman just kind of laid way with his game plan. Took him down, controlled him on the ground. Sorry about that. But, yeah, I think with a stronger camp and better cardio, Jorge Masvidal's got a chance, man. And that's another guy you can't lay down on. He is crafty everywhere. So I'm looking forward to that. If that fight happens, I'm definitely looking forward to it and watching both fighters very closely. And if I don't get Usman next, man, you know, give me anybody. Give me Colby. Give me Leon Edwards if he wins. Give me Nate Diaz, because I know he's talking about coming back in April or May, wanting to fight at 170. I would love that fight, man.
The former BMF challenger versus the NMF. You mentioned Colby, though. I'm wondering, how would you see a fight between yourself and Colby playing out? Obviously, a phenomenal wrestler, a lot of volume, a lot of pressure, great cardio. How would you see yourself matching up with him? Because I guess he's in a position where he might be looking for a dance partner soon.
Yeah, and well, from the word I got, he's looking for just one dance partner, and that's going to be Usman. So that's what he's striving for, and he even said that, I saw in a recent interview that he's willing to wait for that fight. So we'll see. I would love that fight, though. I think it's a great test before I fight for the title, to test my takedown defense, obviously, with a guy like that, and my cardio. I'm known for my cardio. I don't get tired, man. The last time anybody thought I was getting tired was the Matt Brown fight. And, you know, I was due to weight cut, and I've got that down pat ever since then. So I think that would be a fun fight for sure, man. I think I would piece him up. I know my striking's a lot better than Usman's. So if I stuff that shot, I fought some very good wrestlers in the UFC, and I would love that fight as well.
You're one of the nicest guys in the company, always one of the best guys behind the scenes and stuff. But for some reason, I get this feeling from you, and maybe from some of the previous comments that you've said, Colby is maybe one of the guys that you're not really a big fan of in the division. Would I be accurate in saying that? Is he one of those guys where when you get the fight lined up with him, you're actually kind of excited to get in there and figure things out?
Well, I hear as a person, he's actually a really nice guy, but his persona, I don't like. I think it's just, I don't know, it's kind of cringe. You know, like he really doesn't, it comes across, he really doesn't mean what he's saying. And sometimes he can get a little too personal with people. And it's like, come on, man, you kind of going below the belt there. So I don't like his persona. Now, him as a legit human being, I hear he's a great guy. But his UFC persona, I just want to poke him in the eye. Man, I'm like, stop it, dude. Stop. So that's just me.
I'd love to see a lead up between the two of you guys. I think it'd be fascinating. Obviously, Colby would say a lot of things. The trash talk would be at level 10. And I would love to see just sort of, you know, how you handle that and what you would come back at him with. I guess your whole thing is kill him with kindness, though, right?
Kill him with kindness. I'd eat him up with just kindness, man. I would love the guy, hug the guy. You know what I mean? You know, love him up. Like, listen, man, I love you, dog. Let's make this thing happen. He's sitting there talking trash on the other side. Like, sometimes it has a reverse effect. Like, people that trash talk try to get under your skin, but sometimes I can get under their skin because they can't frustrate me. They start getting mad or they start making themselves mad. Oh, it's funny. I love this game.
I love it. It can be very disarming. Well, kill him with kindness. Follow the man on social media at Wonderboy MMA. Always a pleasure to chat to you, man. Good luck with the hand. I hope it's nothing too serious. I hope you don't require any surgery, and I hope that April-May timeline is going to come to fruition because we're miss seeing you in action, man. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great rest of your night, Stephen.
You guys too, man. I appreciate it, man. Love chatting with you, and let's do it again soon, please. Always love chatting with you guys.